Hello and welcome to 3D Printer Profits. My name is Sam Furlan and I'm best known for taking my little 3D printing business from zero to over $500,000 in less than a year. In this course, I'm about to teach you how I did it and more importantly, how you can do it too. You're about to discover how to profit from 3D printing, even if you don't know squat about this revolutionary new technology, and even if you don't own a 3D printer. We all know that being in the right place at the right time and getting in on the ground floor can make you rich. If someone suggested back in the 1990s that you start an internet company, you would have probably laughed. Most of us did, but there were a handful of smart people that didn't laugh. They went to make their little websites at the right time, and today they don't have a worry in the world. The secret of success is to find a business that is so right and so ripe that you can ride it like a crest of a wave. I believe I've found such a business. Folks just like you are making lots of cash with this disruptive new technology we call 3D printing. Business insiders say it is the next trillion-dollar industry. The Economist of London compares its history-changing impact to the invention of the steam engine and the printing press. Meanwhile, trend forecasters are whispering how 3D printing will create more millionaires than the internet. All around the world there is a 3D printing revolution going on, and this is your chance to be a part of it. You are finally in exactly the right place at precisely the right time, right where you need to be to tap into the growing trend that is 3D printing. These little devices called 3D printers create actual objects that you can hold in your hand and use in your everyday life. They're just like replicators from Star Trek. I know it sounds unbelievable, but it actually works. You simply design the product you want on your computer or download a finished design, and the 3D printer makes it for you. 3D printing is the largest money-making opportunity of the decade, an opportunity that anyone with a computer and internet can exploit. Call me old-fashioned, but I like physical products. I like making stuff, and I'm proud when I hold something I made. Throughout history, wealth was always created by producing useful products. To profit from production, no longer do you have to have access to capital or cheap foreign labor. Thanks to 3D printers, now you can have a factory right on your desktop or in the cloud. With the sticker price of these revolutionary 3D printers plummeting from out-of-reach levels of $100,000 plus just a few years ago to around as low as $300, anyone can conquer the next frontier while it is still a virgin territory. The personal computer, the printer, and the internet made us all publisher. Now with 3D printers, we can all be manufacturers as well. For the first time in history, a regular person controls the means of production. The power to manufacture a growing list of products, such as toys, jewelry, spare parts, you name it, is now available to anyone. It's almost like having a factory right on your desktop or in the cloud, because if you use one of the internet 3D printing services, you don't even need to own a 3D printer. For a lot of people, 3D printing sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, effortlessly creating three-dimensional objects in your home or office. But this is one science fiction prediction that actually came true. All you need to create real-life objects is a 3D printer. 3D printers are machines that can print physical objects out of a digital 3D model that you design on your computer. With a 3D printer, you can make real physical objects from digital 3D models. 3D printer does this by building the object layer by layer, from bottom to the top. That means that a solid three-dimensional object is constructed by adding material in layers. This is also known as additive manufacturing, but most people just like to call it 3D printing. There are some other sorts of 3D printing that are not of the additive manufacturing variety, but they are way more expensive and not in the scope of this course. 3D printing is a complete opposite of traditional machining techniques like CNC, which mostly rely on removal of material by methods such as cutting or drilling or machining. which are all subtractive processes through which an object is constructed by cutting raw material into a desired shape. The advantage of additive manufacturing or 3D printing is that you use much less material, and you can make fairly complicated shapes that would be impossible with subtractive manufacturing techniques. Or as the saying goes in the makers community, if you can draw it, you can make it. 3D printing has been around since the 1990s, but it was only recently that their price dropped substantially. In 2008, certain patents on 3D printing have expired, allowing enthusiasts to make 3D printers for themselves on the cheap. It all started with an open source project called RepRap, whose goal was to make a 3D printer that can eventually print its own parts. As a result of the openness of the RepRap project, many people learned how to make 3D printers, and some went on to found companies of their own that made printers of their own designs. This is the reason why we now have first and second generations of affordable 3D printers. Affordable 3D printers were embraced by independent-minded people from all walks of life. People that have a burning desire to make stuff, be free and be their own bosses. I'm one of them, and we like to call ourselves the makers. Our 3D printing community is small but growing rapidly as the 3D printing technology advances and becomes even more affordable. The popularity of 3D printing was recently caught by media that started extensive coverage of the industry, which made 3D printing even more popular. However, the industry is still in its infancy. Think of it as personal computers in the 70s or early 80s, or like the internet in the mid-90s. People who joined the 3D printing revolution now are much more likely to reap the benefits than someone who joins when 3D printing goes mainstream. Commercial industry strength printers most commonly print items such as parts or prototypes for consumer products and vehicles, different medical and aerospace products, and all kinds of expensive high-tech stuff that needs to be customized or made in small numbers. For instance, medical 3D printers can even reconstruct part of people's faces, but we are much more interested in home 3D printing. With this new generation of home and semi-professional 3D printers that recently came out, 3D printing enthusiasts from all over the world make all kinds of functional items, from shower curtain rings and cookie cutters to spare parts and robots. People make smartphone accessories, figurine, toys, personalized rings and bracelets, and even shoes. Or, as they like to say in the maker community, you can print all the things that you can imagine and all the things that you can't imagine. Commercial 3D printers can already print with almost anything: plastic, glass, ceramics, metal, cement, wood, paper. In the research circles, people have been able to print with bones and even organic tissue. Home desktop printers that we talk about here are currently mostly limited to different kinds of plastic. If you want to print on materials other than plastic, such as metal or ceramics, you'll have to use a 3D printing service such as Shapeways. When you start 3D printing, you are most likely to use ABS or PLA types of plastic. ABS plastic is the most common in use. It is the same plastic that Legos are made of. The material is pretty strong and it doesn't break. PLA plastic is biodegradable plastic made from cornstarch. It's easier to print with than ABS, but it's also less stronger. If you put it under stress, it will snap, unlike ABS that will just deform. Commercial 3D printers are at least $10,000, but home desktop 3D printers cost about the same as a home computer. Most printers are in the $1,500 range. At the high end, they're around $2,000 to $3,000, but they go to as low as under $200. Kits that you put together yourself and some low-end older used models can also be found for just a few $100s. Home desktop printers use plastic, which comes in spools. Most 3D printers have a renewable plastic spooled in the back of the device, almost like a string. When a printer is told to print something, it pulls the plastic filament through a tube and into an extruder, which heats it up and deposits it through a small hole and onto the build plate. That is how, layer by layer, the object is printed. 1 kilogram of plastic spool used to cost around $40 to $50, but prices fell recently, so nowadays you can get 1 kilo of plastic filament for around $30. Expect prices to go down even further. The amount of plastic used per 3D printing products depends on its volume, but usually it doesn't cost more than $1 to make something. That's pretty cheap, and that means you can sell it at a high margin. For instance, a smartphone cover will cost you well under $1, maybe 20-30 cents to make, but you can easily sell it for at least $20. 3D printing has also fueled a boom in online 3D printing services such as Shapeways, Sculpteo, or iMaterialize. You can send your designs to these companies and they will print it for you, and some of them will even ship the products they made to your customers. That means that you don't have to own a 3D printer and that you can keep your business all digital. Basically, you outsource all of your 3D printing to these companies. These services are somewhat more expensive than do-it-yourself option, than having an actual 3D printer at home, but they will still leave you with a fat margin while saving you the initial costs of buying a 3D printer and your time operating it. If you can already buy something in the store, it's probably not financially viable to print it yourself. Mass manufacturing and worldwide logistic chain are pretty efficient. However, the strength of 3D printing is in making products that are personalized, one-off products, or things you can't find on the shelves of Target or Walmart. Because of this, people often get stuck on thinking about what 3D printers can print that already exists. The real question to ask is, what can they make that doesn't exist yet? Let's get one thing straight. If you're looking for a secret formula that will make you rich overnight, look elsewhere. If you want some make money on autopilot solution, good luck finding it. But if you want to know exactly how to build a real business and not some fly-by-night crapshoot, you'll love 3D printing. 3D printing is not something that will stop working next week or next month. It's a business that's going to keep working for as long as there are people around who need stuff, any kind of stuff. In a very short time, you can be the proud owner of a profitable, ongoing business, working from the privacy and comfort of your own home. With a low price of 3D printing and profit margins in excess of 1000%, anyone who can't make money with 3D printing is probably condemned to be a wage slave for life. You will, of course, have to put my plan into motion, but that's the fun part. 3D printing is a proven way to make money. It will work anytime you want more money. Need more money? Print some products and follow my simple instructions. It is as easy as that. The more stuff you print, the more money you'll make.